win against Richmond as they get set to tip this one off. And the tip immediately gets into the hands of Boston. Around the rim it goes. Watch this South Carolina team work the offensive glass. They did get themselves the ball back, but not another opportunity. Now we get to see Clemson on offense.
That was great defense by Hannah Hank. Had a little bit of a miscommunication on that jump ball. Thought Aliyah Boston was going to have a runaway, but a good recovery by Clemson defensively.
Drive to the basket by Nunu Bradford, who has been terrific rebounding the ball. She gives her team another shot, and Amari Robinson drains the three.
Second chance points are going to be the story of this game. Can Clemson capitalize? On the flip side, South Carolina averages 22 second chance points a game. Clemson has to find a way to slow that down. Rightfully so. She's the best player in the country. But Zia Cooke, even though she just missed 2 free throws, has been playing lights out in these first 2 games for South Carolina. Has been their leading scorer so far on the season.
Robinson calling for it on the inside. Boston, not only the reigning National Player of the Year, but the National Defensive Player of the Year as well. But Tigers get the bucket. It's a transfer from Elon. Brie Perpignan with the points.
Clemson being aggressive early. Coach Butler's message to her team in shoot-around was, it's about us. It's not about them. Everyone in the gym, everyone, the media thinks this game is about South Carolina. But for Clemson, it's about them and what they do well.
Hank trying to draw the charge, and instead it's a friendly bounce.
I like the no call there. Referees know that teams want to get Aliyah Boston in foul trouble, and they're going to try to bait her. I do think that was a flop. That was a good no call by the officials.
Boston and Cook both got in foul trouble early in this game last year.
Okay, Jen, what we're about to see is Letitia Amir, 6'4", playing the point. She is one of the most versatile players in the entire country, has a 6'10" wingspan, can play 1 through 5, can guard 1 through 5. That is just not normal. She brings the ball up the floor. They run with their sheer athleticism and just the length. It's so hard as an offense to go up against this kind of length, and on the other side to rebound against them as well.
4 quick points, South Carolina leading 10-5. And Clemson find a way to maintain some of that good energy they started the game with. Bradford got a clear lane to the basket.
Oh, that is where their advantage is, but keep South Carolina honest and continue to attack the rim, and when you do, you can look for your shooters off of that.
Raven Johnson, redshirt freshman, now in running the point. Fletcher went to the bench for South Carolina. Both of those players on minutes restriction coming off injury. Shot sure looking good, though. Off the inbounds, Boston quick to pick it up, but 6 on the shot clock for the Gamecocks. Brie Beal will pull up from the free throw line and hit.
Strong.
And why wouldn't you when you have the depth that Dawn Staley has at her disposal? Camila Cardozo, another name familiar to ACC fans. ACC Freshman of the Year in 2021 when she was at Syracuse. 6'7", she's now on the floor. Beal, why not try another back-to-back bucket?
The ball well this year, 40% from 3 coming into this game. She hits that 1 dribble pull-up. She feels like she's in rhythm. They lay off of her a bit. She knocks down the 3.
Nice shot fake from Robinson to get the lane. Games played, but wound up redshirting with that early injury.
And blocked there by Michaela Elmore.
On the break, Bradford for 2 off the glass.
Clemson has to take advantage of when they get stops, when they force South Carolina to turn the ball over. You've got to go score and make those easy layups in transition.
Cardozo, easy to see above the arms of those Clemson defenders. Shot clock under 10. Inside it goes to Boston, makes it look so easy. Bradford, A for effort, but couldn't get it around or over both of those Gamecock defenders. Now South Carolina looking for the final shot of the quarter.
Tigers in that man-to-man again. Whenever you see a man-to-man, you want that high ball screen action, especially with a player like Zia Cooke.
She'll take it and make it 5 points in the game for Cooke, the leading scorer.
It's the risk you take. You have to double Aliyah Boston because she's that dominant, but South Carolina can make you pay with all the pieces around her.
Gamecocks 10 of 14 from the floor in that first quarter, including a perfect 3 of 3
that is
from beyond the arc.
Scorching hot for the Gamecocks.
Clemson, meanwhile, just 1 3-pointer made so far. That was the first one they took. 1 for 6 in the quarter. And Cooke picks up where she left off. She pulls up. Leaves it short, though. Fletcher looks like she's ready to run. Good idea. In the end, passes it off. Another look to the freshman Watkins, who missed the first but makes the second.
That is incredible. And then their overall rebounding rate, 65% of rebounding opportunities they grab. It's their size, but it's also the culture that Dawn Staley has built. She knows that rebounding is who they are. She knows it creates separation for them. And the great Pat Summitt said rebounding wins championships, and I think Dawn Staley follows that. Everyone's worried about how they're going to stop Aliyah Boston and stop this team, but the key is you've got to score. You've got to be able to score on the other end. And that's how Clemson was going to be able to stay in this game, I think, was shooting the 3 ball. And South Carolina has shot it better so far. Right on cue, though. Gaines knocked.
Gaines, well, she just made 1. Hank in the perfect position for the board.
Clemson needs to be aware of.
One of the many hard things, as is trying to defend that woman right there on the consistency. Wide open look for Saxton. Cardozo, the putback. CCN at 8. That's all right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Gamecocks on an 8-0 run over the last 2:45. Clemson just 1 of their last 9, to your point, Kelly, about getting some looks and just not finishing them off. South Carolina, meanwhile, goes inside. Carolina team getting ready to go on a road trip out west for a massive matchup on Sunday. They'll be at Stanford. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. Some big games coming up on the weekend in women's basketball. Tell you about that at halftime. Saxton taking the last shot of the second quarter, and it goes down. Anyone can do it. I mean, the energy, the drive of Amanda Butler. So great to see that in person at shoot-around earlier today, as she was just trying to remind this team of their special qualities. We talked about that in the first half, that their energy needs to be focused on what they do well. See if they can exert that a little bit more in this second half. Robinson, good look from the elbow. Comes away with it for the moment. Now it is back with Perpignan and Clemson. Got too deep, no foul called.
It is so tough to pass the ball in the paint against South Carolina. I'd be telling my team, if you get in the lane, go score. Go score, go try to draw a foul. I'm not passing the ball post to post or guard to post in the lane with their length. I just don't want to take that risk.
Tigers at least forcing the Gamecocks down deep into the shot clock, but Aliyah Boston.
She's just so strong. You can't guard her one-on-one. Clemson tried to guard her one-on-one there. Aliyah Boston, in her mind, she sees a one-on-one matchup. She just sees buckets.
Good movement by Whitehorn for her first points. American tag. What kind of a program-changing player Whitehorn could potentially be for this Clemson team. 20 McDonald's All-Americans have played at South Carolina under keep possession of the basketball. And then passes it right to Aliyah Boston. Fletcher again getting to the block on the break. Takes it this time.
That could change as the year progresses.
We'll have another special ACC PM tomorrow with the crew in Winston-Salem to get you set for big college football Saturday. And they'll have the latest from around the conference. That's 4 Eastern right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. There's your third point guard as needed. Ami here inside to Boston. Money in the bank.
Aliyah Boston right where she needed to get that ball because the double was coming. But again, That's what Aliyah Boston does. Sometimes she makes her moves so quickly, the double just can't even get there.
Elijah Douglas back on the floor. It's going to be another fun player to watch for the Tigers this season, as is Kiki Gaines. Elmore from the corner. That's a much-needed three.
Looks incredible, and they've played really well so far. So that's a team I'm excited to see how they evolve throughout the year.
Ami here behind the back to save the play. Call it what you want. It was impressive. Second swat of the game for Johnson as Whitehorn gets her own rebound.
It's not even on their radar to shoot the ball. She has that big of a presence defensively that you know that player has to pass, and then you can go full out deny every other position.
Not only was Cardozo a former ACC Freshman of the Year in her time at Syracuse and first team selection, but also co-defensive player of the year her freshman year.
Jen, when I saw on Twitter that Cardozo was transferring to South Carolina, I remember it vividly. I was driving, I pulled over, and I saw
Syracuse, their women's and men's soccer programs respectively, both of those teams in the NCAA tournament at the moment. Going to the basket, and it is good.
That's different in the women's game that I personally love about this game.
I'm guessing the South Carolina team has not given you many reasons to doubt that they can defend that national title, right? From what you've seen so far this season?
No, not at this point. I think you can look at that Maryland game as well. That was their main weakness last year, and they were able to overcome it with how they did everything else so well. But if they shoot the three, obviously they're not going to shoot 64% each night. But if they can get that up into the mid-30s, I just don't know how you guard this team. Because then you have to almost reconsider doubling Aliyah Boston. And that's crazy. You have to double Aliyah Boston. So they're just so hard to guard at every spot on the floor.
Beautiful passing.
But move on. I do think they've done some good things defensively. And I think they've gotten some good shots offensively. But you got to convert. The name of the game, as simple as this sounds, is put in the
South Carolina roster. On good hands as Watkins takes it on the break and puts it down. Watkins. Good fight under the basket by Sanaya. Meanwhile, on that last play, Eno Inyang did commit her 5th personal foul. She fouled out. Kiki Gaines came on the floor in her place for Clemson. Just over a minute to go in this one, and Fagan, now she's feeling it for South Carolina.
One minute remaining.
Whitehorn read the defense well that time, got a little. 6 points in the game for the Tigers' heralded freshman. And not a lot of points for anybody in a Clemson uniform. It's been tough going on both ends of the floor for the Tigers. Kiki Gaines, 0 for 3. That kind of a night for Clemson. Final seconds coming off the clock. A dominant performance by the defending national champions, one that was highlighted with the first ever dunk in South Carolina women's basketball.